So, as discussed, we will start with politics. In polity, till date, there is no paper which has not given questions about, historical background. Every year, at least one question will come on historical background. And this historical background, as you are aware, begins with 1773 Regulating Act. Okay. As the name itself suggests, it is talking about regulating. Okay. So let me tell a small story for you to begin. You are aware about 1757 Battle of Plassey. After that, 1764 Battle of Buxar. So after 1764 Battle of Buxar, some provinces for the first time came under East India Company. Till that time, East India Company was involved only in doing business. East India Company did not have control over land. So for the first time, they got 24 Paraganas, Northern Sarkar areas for the East India Company. So directly, people were ruled by East India Company. Now what happened? After Battle of Buxar, Mir Jafar and others, they gave huge money to Robert Clive. So Robert Clive retired in India. He went to UK. And in UK, he became one of the richest person. Lot of money he got from India. So at that point of time, they understood that there is something that is happening in British India. And they got to know that these people are taking bribe or they are getting gifts. So the issue went to British Parliament and the Queen. The people who are working in India, they are looting and they are becoming rich. And when the issue went to the Queen and the Parliament, they decided that we should administratively try to control these colonies. And in that, India was very, very important for them because of the resources we had. So, to put a check on British employees who were working in India, they introduced what is called as Regulating Act. Now, under this Regulating Act, they brought some systematic things. That is, you should establish, you should establish Supreme Court. Right? So, remember this, Supreme Court establishment actually happened under this act, and Supreme Court for the first time started functioning in 1774. 1774. And what is the need of this Supreme Court? Because they have to punish the people who are involved in crime. Okay. And I'm telling you, 1773, lot of land was not under British control. At that time only, they thought of having a court system. And in this, they had plan for, this number is very important for you, 1 Chief Justice. one Chief Justice, and 3 other judges. This is important, guys. One Chief Justice and 3 other judges were actually introduced. Second, you see, company servants, okay, whoever is acting in the company, company servants cannot do private trade, cannot do private trade. That means they cannot bring goods in their personal name. Private trade, and cannot accept bribe. I told you the most important ambition was this: can't accept bribe. And remember, at that time we had 3 different provinces, right? 3 different provinces were there: Bombay, Kolkata, and Madras. So the problem was each one was working in his own way. There was no proper system. So what they did, they actually established Governor General of Bengal. So for the first time, Governor General was used. Governor General of Bengal. Okay. Here, this Governor General of Bengal will have Executive Council. Executive Council, which consists of 4 members. This is also important. Which consists of 4 members. Yes, what is Executive Council? It will be like Home Minister, okay, Education Minister, Industry Minister, like that. Ministers, 4 members were given as Executive Council to assist them. And guys, please understand this. The first guy who became was Warren Hastings. Okay. And under Governor General of Bengal, they made subordinates. So, Governor Governor of Bombay was subordinate, and Governor of Madras was subordinate. Why Bengal was chosen as, like, Governor General? Why Bengal was given priority over others? The main reason was it was closer to Chota Nagpur Plateau. It is believed that as Chota Nagpur Plateau had huge mineral reserves, the one who is closer to it has to control them, and he must be given more powers compared to other areas. Okay, so it is said that because we had more resources in that particular area, that was actually given more preference compared to other 2. Okay, and then this, You see, British government. Okay. So, as I told you, the government was interested because huge money was coming from here. So, what British government did? British government to control, they established court of directors. Okay, which will be governing body of the company. Governing body of the company. And its main role is to inform everything to the British Parliament. Okay. Its main role is to inform everything to the British Parliament. So the court of directors, most important duty is to act as a mediator between British government and company. Okay. So guys, quickly, Supreme Court establishment, one Chief Justice and three other judges. Company servants cannot do private trade and can't accept bribe. Governor General of Bengal was established, and there was Executive Council of 4 members for him, and Warren Hastings became the first person. Under them, Governor of Bombay and Governor of Madras were kept mainly because of a simple reason, that they wanted control over resources. And British government, to get information from the company, they established court of directors. Okay. But in this case, what I want you to know is Supreme Court, which was established in 1774, they had more power over, Governor General and others. So what used to happen? Supreme Court used to interfere in every action of the Governor General, every action of governors, every action of the company. So in 1781, this is additional information. In 1781, a brief changes were made to the functioning of Supreme Court. So today, if you see, whenever President acts, Prime Minister acts, Chief Minister acts, Governor acts, okay, whenever Governor, President act while performing their official duties, okay, they are not liable for punishment. So while doing some official duties, if you do mistake, you are not liable for punishment. The same thing was brought in Supreme Court at that time, where Governor General, okay, governors, company employees, if they do any mistake, they did not want to trouble them. That was the most important thing which they did. Okay, that is not so important, it's fine. Now what happened? You come to the next act, that is 1784 Pitt's India Act. See guys, mandatory question, if at all they ask, are on 3 acts. One is 1773, another one is 1909, 1919. These 3 plus 1935. Mandatorily, they may ask one question among them. But as a student, when you are reading, especially for state exams, it is very important for you to have some basic idea about other acts as well. So anyone who asks you will ask that particular flow itself. Okay. So what happened? Pitt's India Act. The main goal of Pitt's India Act, if someone asks you, what is the main goal? The main goal was to separate commercial and political functions of the companies. Remember this. See, 1773 Regulating Act was to reduce corruption, but later they started understanding that East India Company is becoming very, very rich. East India Company is becoming very, very rich. And why only East India Company should benefit? Why not other companies? So what they did, commercially, your powers will be changed. Politically, you only control because you are present from 16th century. You see, 1600 Britishers came. From 16 to 1784, who is controlling? Who is present in India? East India Company. So you ruled almost for 180 years. So you know people very well. New companies, when they come, they don't know how to deal with the people. So politically, we want you people to look into the issue once. Whereas when it comes to commercial issues, okay, when it comes to commercial issues, they told we need to give priority to others as well. So slowly they started taking commercial powers of the company. Okay, slowly they started taking commercial powers of the company. And you see here, who will manage? Who will manage commercial things? It will be done by court of directors. It will be done by court of directors. Why? You saw just now in 1773 Regulating Act. Court of Directors' main work was to inform to the British government what is happening. Okay? Court of Directors' main role in 1773 was to just inform to the Parliament. Later they told, sir, huge money is going to East India Company. We should not allow only East India Company. We should allow others as well. So Court of Directors took commercial powers of India. Managing commercial powers were under this. And they created board of control, board of directors, board of control, who will look after the political issues. Who will look after the political issues. So commercial thing indirectly came under British government control. Political was mostly under the company control. As you can see, you have two different groups looking after commercial aspect and political aspect. Pitt's India Act is famously known for establishing double government in India. Pitt's India Company was famous for establishing double government, a system of double government. Please don't get confused with, dual system. A dual system is different. Double government is different. Okay? Double government came under Pitt's India Act. Okay. So now, guys, so what is the work of board of control? Board of control will look into civil issues, military issues. Board of Control will look into civil issues, military issues. Okay. And it is their duty to collect revenue of British possessions. So everything which is with respect to administration came under Board of Control. Okay. For the first time, the term British possessions were used. I hope you got the difference. Is it easy for you to remember now? Double government, system of double government was for the first time introduced through Pitt's India Act. Okay. Now what happened? A person by name Cornwallis will come. Okay. Cornwallis will come. He was extremely dynamic, had very good knowledge, and they desperately wanted him to take over India. But he told, if you want me to accept the power, then I should have more power than the executive council. That means, you see, Governor General plus Executive Council will be together 5. Correct? Governor General plus Executive Council together will be 5. And out of 5, 3, whatever they tell, that should happen. So irrespective of whether Governor General likes or not, everyone has to follow what majority opinion is. It is not like our Prime Minister, where he is, whatever he says is important. Now in the Executive Council, 5 people are there. If 3 says anything, you need to follow that. Whereas Cornwallis said, if I want to become Governor General of Bengal, then the only thing I would ask is, I should have overriding power. Whatever I tell in important matters, that should be considered. I will not be listening to the Executive Council, even if every member of Executive Council wants to think in the same manner. And he told, I would be the commander-in-chief of the military. I would be the commander-in-chief of the military. So these were actually said by Cornwallis. So in 1793, Councils Act, we tried to follow what Cornwallis tried to tell. So what they told, fine, from now on, whatever the Governor General will tell, he will have overriding powers. Not only for Cornwallis, even for others who will come. Okay. Not only for Governor General, even for governors of the presidencies. Everyone, it would be same. Okay. See, this Governor General became overriding powers over Executive Council. Okay, they had more powers over Executive Council. They also had more powers over whom? They also had more powers over governors of Bombay and Madras. So, guys, after Cornwallis, Governor General became more powerful than everyone else. So that is the power, guys. So whenever you have more power, whenever you have more power, you will be in a position to dominate. So what he did, he controlled Executive Council, he controlled Bombay and Madras. And then everyone started telling East India Company monopoly should end. East India Company monopoly should end. Everyone started demanding. But East India Company could influence British Parliament and they started extending trade monopoly. This is not required. Trade monopoly on India was actually extended for another 20 years. There was huge pressure, but East India Company managed to get 20 years more. And from this time, money for board of control and money for others need to be paid from India. So that is British government employees, British government employees were paid from Indian revenue. This is not required, guys. This entire act is not so important. Okay, not so important. If at all they ask you, remember the first 2 points. What is the first 2 points? Okay, what are the first 2 points? Overriding powers over Executive Council and governors of Bombay and Madras. Second, trade monopoly for 20 years. Mandatorily, you should remember this. I'm telling you additional things only to ensure you will get the flow. Even if you leave this, I'm fine. But 1813 Charter Act is very important. 1813 Charter Act is very important for us. Why? You see, which year is this? 1793. 20 years got over. Now, new thing is coming. At this point of time, they told 20 years is over. So now, trade monopoly was removed. Trade monopoly was removed. For whom? East India Company. Trade monopoly was removed. And it was allowed. Even other private companies can come. Even other private companies can come. Okay. And this, the company told, fine, you're taking away everything. Okay, you're taking away everything, but give me monopoly over trade and, sorry, just a minute, over tea and trade with China. China's silk and tea was very important, guys. These two East India Company got. Remaining was given to others. Okay. And for the first time, okay, sovereignty. This word is very, very important for you. Sovereignty of British Crown over Indian territories were established. Please understand here, many people get confused that it is 1858 where British Crown started ruling us. Okay, British Crown started ruling us from 1858. This is what many of us have an opinion. But remember, commercially, politically, there were several changes over a period of time. And 1858 is a clear-cut demarcation. But by that time, company was already weak. Company was not controlling many parts. So in 1813 Charter Act, British government started saying that this is my land. So now what is a sovereignty? The meaning of that is, if anyone attacks these territories, British may attack them. And if any law has to be made, only British government can make the law. Okay. So company is gone. Company is a private thing. It's gone. So companies monopoly in commercial activities. Companies control in what we call as like, politically. Slowly it started going to British. Okay. So commercially company lost, and here from now on, the administration of India will be almost guarded, will be checked by British Crown. Okay. Then most importantly, Christian missionaries were allowed. This is asked in multiple exams, guys. Christian missionaries were allowed to come and enlighten. They use the term enlighten Indians. Okay, why? You see, this is the reason. This is the reason. As British is controlled, and what will British will follow? British will obviously follow Christianity. Okay. East India Company was not interested in Christianity. East India Company was interested in business. But once Britishers came, they said, it is my responsibility to spread Christianity. Christian missionaries were allowed. And they started spreading Western education. mostly Western education, they wanted people to study English, guys. This not only happened in India, it also happened in French territories, in Dutch territories. Everyone started introducing their languages because when I am ruling you, okay, when I am ruling you, and if I don't have people who will talk in my language, then it's very difficult. Okay, I'm not talking about the Macaulay minute yet. Okay, I'm not talking about the Macaulay minute yet. I'm just talking about the Western education that was required because they told, see, how will people learn Christianity? How will people, like, contact with us? If they want to talk to us, which language will they use? Okay, that was the biggest issue. If anyone wants to talk to me, suddenly I go to some other place, I don't know their language, they don't know my language. So I need to talk. So Western education also was introduced in this. And remember, guys, please understand, 1813 Charter Act, many people consider it lightly, but it is very, very important because commercial powers gone, political powers gone, okay? Christian missionaries will come. Slowly, British influence culturally started establishing in India. So, British culture was introduced in India through which act? 1813 Charter Act. And see the beauty. It is at this point of time they established local governments. So, local government in India came through which act? 1813 Charter Act. Not only local government were done, local government can collect taxes, property tax, all those. Even today we have this. Okay. So one major change in British, rule occurred during 1813 Charter Act. Okay. Just a minute. Yeah. So now, everyone, now, if this is done, we'll move to the next one. 1833, powerful act, but not as important as 1813. I would say, historically, any historian who gives questions, you talk to them, they give more prominence to 1813 and then 1858. Okay. Now, when you see 1833, it's very simple. But what is the main aspect here? You see, last step for centralization. Why? Because this fellow, Cornwallis, okay, Cornwallis, he took that centralizing powers He became powerful than governors of Bombay, governors of Madras. Now what will they do? In this stage, Governor General of Bengal, Governor General of Bengal actually became Governor General of India. Now, because by this time, they had more territories. They had more territories under their control. So they told, we will become Governor General of India. Okay. Earlier you had only 3 provinces. Later more provinces came. So they told, Governor General of Bengal will become Governor General of India. Which year? 1833. And during this particular point, who was there? Who was there? William Bentinck. Guys, this guy is very, very important for us, mainly because of abolition of sati system. So, during his particular period, Governor General of Bengal became Governor General of India. Okay. So, till that time, Governor General of Bengal used to look after Bengal. Governor of Bombay, Governor of Madras used to look after Bombay and Madras. And whenever any conflict came, Governor General of Bengal used to say, whatever I tell, you need to listen. But for the first time, something similar to Indian government was established. Okay. And guys, here, Governor of Bombay, Governor of Bombay, and Governor of Madras lost powers. Lost powers. All the powers were removed everywhere, and everything was given to Governor General of India. And then they told, till now, we used to call regulations. Till now, we used to call it as regulations. From now, it will be called as acts. From this, East India Company as commercial body completely ended. So whatever commercial activities they used to do, okay, that was completely ended because monopoly was not there. Here at least you had monopoly of what? Like, tea, trade with China, all this monopoly was there. No monopoly for you. So commercially, everything was removed. And what was given? Only administrative controls were given. East India Company acted only as administrative body. Administrative body. And remember, 1813, they introduced English education, and 1833, okay, open competition for civil servants were done. Open competition for civil servants started. And Indians were asked, you can also participate. So first they gave English education, later they went for this. Okay. See guys, all this, all this okay, all this were present. Yeah, all this were present till 1833. Okay, now we go for we go for 1853, last act, last charter act. Whatever they did was not helpful in this, mainly because, like, immediately in 1858 things were changed. Now what happened? Governor General Council. Okay, we already had Governor General and his council, Governor General of India. Now Governor General Council, right, had two different functions: legislative function and executive function. Is in Charter Act, Governor General Council was basically divided into, legislative and executive functions. Is they added another 6 members, they brought a mini parliament, because legislature, when you have, you will normally have a mini parliament here. All those were there, all those were there, and they again went for okay open competition, open competition based on Macaulay Committee. Open competition based on Macaulay Committee. Fine, guys. Open competition were done on the basis of Macaulay Committee, and the committee was on Indian civil service. The committee tried to study about Indian civil service. Just two more things, guys. I'll revise once. Uh, Ma'am, in 1813, English education itself was established for the first time. Okay, English education itself was there. Okay, and and in 1833, open competition. Just a minute, I'll cross check. There was no open competition, but Indians should not be debarred from. Indians should not be debarred from taking public office was there. Okay, and here 1853, 1853, companies' possessions, companies' possessions were under British Crown. Sovereignty was there, but in this, they told, I can take away the territory whenever I want. Okay. 1853, they had already told, we will take away the company's possessions whenever we want. And 1858 helped them with that. Okay. 1858 helped them with that. Fine. So guys, if you see, quickly see the things once. As I told you, Supreme Court came, one Chief Justice and three other judges. Company servant cannot do private trade and can't accept bribe. Governor General of Bengal became important. He had four members. Under him, Governor of Bombay and Governor of Madras were kept. Warren Hastings became the first person. Okay. And British government introduced court of directors and told them, inform whatever the company is doing to me. Pitt's India Act, they told, court of directors will look into the commercial aspect completely. Board of control, which is mostly under East India Company, they will look into civil, military and revenue of the British possessions. 1793, Cornwallis ensured that he has more power compared to others, and trade monopoly for the company was extended for another 20 years. 1813, trade monopoly was removed. Monopoly over tea and trade with China was given to East India Company. Sovereignty of British was established for the first time over the territories. Christian missionaries were allowed. English education were allowed. Local government were established for the first time, which can collect taxes, and if anyone don't pay taxes, then they can be punished. Okay. It was last step for centralization. It was last step for centralization, where Governor General of Bengal became Governor General of India, and legislative powers of Governor of Bombay and Governor of Madras was removed. All the regulations became acts. Okay. Commercial, like, activity or commercial control of East India Company completely ended in this, and it remained just an administrative body. Okay. It was having open competition for civil servants. Yes. Ma'am, here I just wanted to tell you, open competition for civil servants basically means through exams they were procuring them. Okay. Through exams they were taking. Till that time, civil servants were actually nominated. Whoever they nominate used to become. Open competition were kept for civil servants, and most of them were Britishers who used to write. Indians were allowed. It was told that Indians also can take, but Indians were not given that type of education and all to write. But after Macaulay committee saying that the exams must be done in such a way that Indians can also participate, because they gave the statement where Indian in blood, British in mind. So that particular aspect was introduced after 1853. So 1833 open competition is mostly for, British citizens and all. Nomination was stopped there. Here they are more focusing on, getting Indians also slowly into this. Company possessions finally came under British crowns. Okay. So they were told, whenever we want, we will remove you and we will come to power. So this was actually accepted at that time. So guys, this is still 1853. Any doubts, guys? Any doubts? Do you want me to go deeper, or is this fine? Fair enough. Yeah, man, please. Others, give your opinion. You have paid money for this. So whatever you need, you tell. We can plan accordingly. I don't know. What do you have? Yes, ma'am, you can speak. I'll unmute. Yes, ma'am.
Uh, Sir, you said about Charter Act 1833, that is about open competition for civil
Civil
servants.
service. Yes.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
in Charter Act 1833, want to want to have open competition for civil servants, but the
Yes.
provision is not accepted.
But they
In
will have.
1853, it's accepted. Huh?
No, no, ma'am. I'll tell the difference. Open competition was there. You might have heard. Indians had to go to UK and write exam. There was no exam conducted in India and other parts. So exams were conducted only there, not in India. So actually, open competition, how it should happen, and what are the procedures that we need to do, exact things came from 1853, because there Indian civil servants, Macaulay committee was set up, which tried to tell what we need to do. So the procedure, everything was established in a systematic manner to acquire Indians also, came from 1853. But before 1833, anyone, if you want to become civil servant, you were nominated or appointed rather than having an exam. So it was not only for India, even for other parts of the world, South Africa, wherever Britishers were there, in everywhere, civil servants were chosen through open competition. So 1833 is mostly about that.
In 1853, it's about how the recruitment should happen.
Yes, yes. Exact procedure, everything came from 1853, because that was specific to Indian civil service. Macaulay committee was specific to Indian civil service. That's why many people
Okay,
consider 1853 as an important one.
okay, sir.
Okay. So, yes, let's take break for 5 minutes. We'll meet. Manoj, double government is different from dual system. So if you want to know, double government was basically between East India Company and board of directors of British government. Okay. Dual system, when we talk, dual system was basically between Indians and British. Okay, double government system was different. Dual system was different. And in dual system, what will happen? Some powers were given to what do you call as viceroy, and some powers were with the Indians. So that system is different. So don't get confused with the both. Okay. That's why in exam, when you see double government, when they ask, you should talk about the Pitt's India itself. Now, everyone, let's talk about what happened in 1857. See, guys, 1857. Why is it important for us to think about the revolt? Okay, the revolt. So, if you see, Britishers said yes, it is Sepoy mutiny, but they were aware that some fundamental mistakes were happening. They were confused why upper caste people were not happy with Britishers. And they understood it is because of socio-religious things. Okay, if you see, Lord William Bentinck removed sati system, widow remarriage will come. All those things started socio-religious interference of Britishers were there before 1857. And we say that is one of the reasons for Sepoy mutiny or first war of India's independence. So it is at this point of time when there was socio-religious things, Britishers decided we will not interfere in the religious aspects of Indians. So that is the reason you will not see any socio-economic acts after 1857. Okay, before 1857 we had lot sati system and all, but after that very less. Okay, actually, to be frank, they did not interfere at all. Second, as you're aware, accession was one of the issue. Subsidiary alliance system, doctrine of lapse was another system, and Britishers defeated everyone who were against them. As you're aware, Indians lost. So Britishers defeated everyone, captured those territories. But other kingdoms like Nizam of Hyderabad and all, they did not enter into first war of Indian independence. Second, they decided to be on the side of Britishers. So as they showed loyalty, so no further annexation. So further, they will not annex Indian territories. Okay, no further annexation was permitted. Right now, they told they put the blame on East India Company completely. But by that time, East India Company did not had any power much. But they put all the blame on East India Company. You need someone to make a scapegoat, and they put all the blame on East India Company, and they got the powers transferred to British Crown. And they understood they understood it is very, very important to allow Indians. Macaulay made sense. Macaulay made sense. That is, Indian in blood, British in mind is very, very important. So from now on, you will see Indians participating, Indian education, everything changed. You see, when am I talking about 1858? After this, it took 20, 30 years. Most of our people got education. Then they were able to form Indian National Congress and all. So for that, the roots are present in 1853, 1858. 1853, little bit, but 1858. After this, there was a hope that yes, we need to create Indians who will listen to British. So from now on, you will not think about company. It is all about how Britishers wanted to share power with Indians slowly. So that what you call as the pressure on British government is reduced slowly. Now that you will see where kingdoms are gone, fight between kings and companies are gone. From now, you will purely see where people of India, that is people of British India, started fighting over the crown. So the face changes completely from this, because till 1856, doctrine of lapse and all, what we study in history is how Britishers captured kingdoms. Okay, we won't see how Britishers were questioned by people. You had peasant struggle, you had tribal uprisings and all, but they were purely for commercial purposes, not paying taxes and all. But from now on, against the rule, Indian people start thinking about. That is because of introduction of English education. So everything that changed here, in a much different way, in a much significant way, right? So 1858, let's come to 1858. We'll try to complete the acts, guys, at least till 1919 today. Guys, from now it will be called as Government of India Act. Okay. And this act is popularly known as, very important, guys, popularly known as Act for Good Government of India. This is where I told you East India Company was made a scapegoat, and then they told, we will from now on try to govern you in a very proper manner. Okay. Till 1858, it was East India Company which was looking after, but now who will look after? Crown will look after. Okay. Crown rule started. So when I say crown rule started, administration will be directly under their controls. Till now, administration was done by East India Company. It was reported to Queen, but now it will be directly under their control. Okay. Second, whatever territories company had, They signed and told from now on, all the territories will be handed over to British Crown. It's like, Portuguese handed over their territory to India. Britishers handed over their territory to India. French handed over their territories to India. East India Company handed over all the territories to Britishers. Especially, what is the meaning of territories here? Ports. Like, if you talk about Kolkata port, if you talk about Madras port, everything was given to Queen. Okay. And revenues, money, additional money, whatever they earn. It used to be with company, later board of directors and all, but slowly it came completely, or it was directly sent to the queen. These are the three things that you normally find. This here, queen means just the name, but it is mostly for the British democracy, British Parliament. Remember, queen is just a nominal head there. So from now on, what is going to change? Very, very important. Governor General is actually the term. Governor General means independent. Okay. Governor General, governor basically is independent. So that was removed and they put the word viceroy. Viceroy is mostly like representative. Okay. My person will be there. Okay. Viceroy, my person will be there. And guys, Lord Canning was the first person. Now, what happened? First thing what they did is ended, abolished double government. Why? Because in this double government, one was British representative, another one was company representative. Now, as company representative is removed, there is no need of double government. So Pitt's India Act brought double government and this ended double government because administration has shifted from company to Britishers. That is the reason. Okay. Then they created, see, now I'll tell you, you have UK and you have India. UK, who is the head? Crown is the head. Actually, under Crown, British Parliament is the head. Please understand this. British Parliament is actually the head. Okay, of UK. Now, in India, who is the head? Viceroy. For Britishers, they had so many colonies. Canada was their colony. Like, the South Africa was their colony. Australia was their colony. So many colonies were there. So they cannot involve entire parliament into this. So they created, in India, we create secretaries to look into, right? Same way, they created in the British Parliament, one person was told, you will look after India. Secretary of State for India. Okay. So a minister or an MP was told, you will be Secretary of State for India, and Viceroy will inform everything to you. Viceroy will inform everything to Secretary of State for India. Okay. And guys, he is minister. He is minister. Almost rank of minister. Okay. So as you are aware, every minister is responsible to the house. In India, he is responsible to Lok Sabha, right? So as Secretary of State for India is an MP, he is a minister, he is responsible to British Parliament. So whatever happens in India, he has to tell to the British Parliament. Okay, the way Indian Home Minister works, the way Indian Finance Minister works, the same way Secretary of State for India will work. And he is accountable to British Parliament. Okay, ultimately responsible for British Parliament. This word is very, very important. See, Viceroy is in India, Secretary of State for India is in UK, and he is responsible for British Parliament because he is minister. That's it. And guys, and this Secretary of State for India cannot look after India by himself. So he was given 15 members to assist him. He was given 15 members to assist him. Okay. This is very important. But remember, nothing changed. Just names changed. Because by that time, everything was already under the control of British Parliament. But officially, the changes occurred. Okay. Now, next. Indian Councils Act 1861. Now, this is again very important article, very important act. Guys. Understand this. Because from this act, Indians were brought into the system. Okay. It made a beginning of representative institutions by associating Indians. I told you, after 1858, they understood that Indian participation is required. So, Indians who were loyal to Britishers were actually rewarded. Okay. Indians who were loyal to Britishers were rewarded. So, Indians were associated with institutions. Indians were associated with institutions. and this. Please see here. Please see here. These Indians will not be elected. They will be nominated. Always remember, Indians were nominated. So whomever they wanted, they nominated them. Please understand, they won't give powers to you directly. So they were nominated. Fine. So now if Indians are included, executive council must be expanded. So at this time, Viceroy nominated 3 people to legislative council. Okay. What are the 3? Important. Raja of Benares. I told you, they will appoint only who are good to them. Raja of Benares, Maharaja of Patiala, and Sir Dinkar Rao. You might have heard Britishers used to give title Sir to their loyalists. Now, why is this important? In Bombay, and Madras, again legislative powers were given. Again, legislative powers were given. Very simple. So, when legislative powers are given, we use the term decentralization. So, there was decentralization. Okay. Apart from this, they introduced legislative councils in Punjab. They introduced legislative councils in northwestern province. Right? So legislative council in new areas. Yes, legislative councils basically means like state governments were established. Guys, so if they ask you, from which act Indians started associating with institutions, that is Indian Councils Act. Guys, which year Indian Councils Act? 1861. Now we go to 1892. 1892 Indian Councils Act. 1892 Indian Councils Act. Can you tell me, anyone, can you tell what is the significance of 1892? Any idea?
Nomination, indirect elections.
Indirect elections, nominations. Can I say 1885 Congress formation occurred. Please understand here. So 1885 Congress formation occurred. So this act was introduced after Congress was formed. And they understood. See, this is where people tell Congress was a safety valve. Okay? Where I just want you people to know, Indian Council Act was established after Congress was formed. So as Congress was fighting for their representation in Indian Council Act, Indian participation started increasing. So this is one of the biggest achievement of moderates, we call. This is one of the biggest achievements of moderates. Okay, so here what is going to happen? 1892. Please understand, it is after Congress formation. So Indian participation, elections, because Congress came as an Indian body. So what happened? Elections, indirect elections, everything will start from this particular act. So you see now, see guys, non-officials were increased. In central also, state also. This is a common thing that you will find, guys, because everywhere, every time you need to add more people. So that keeps on occurring. From now on, you will see that carefully. Okay. Non-officials were increased in central and state legislative councils. But remember, majority will be always officials. I'm giving you power, but not much. Majority will be officials. Have you heard of 3 P's of moderates? Petition, prayer, protest. Like, where will they petition? Where will they talk? Everything was in the council. I don't know if you have heard this. Lala Lajpat Rai, Lala Lajpat Rai, Gopala Krishna Gokhale especially. If you read contributions of moderates, Gopala Krishna Gokhale played a very, very important role where they discussed and debated on the budget. Okay. So here after 1892, legislative councils were given power to debate. And discuss. Okay. This is important. That's it. You see, 1892 Council Act, non-officials were increased, but still majority were officials only. Legislative councils were given the power to debate and discuss. Okay, because this is where we started seeing moderates of Congress entering into legislative councils. But now comes another important one, 1909. Indian Councils Act. The name itself says councils. What is the meaning of councils? It is about reforms of the legislatures. Indian Councils Act. See guys, 1909 came after Surat split, after Swadeshi movement. It came after Swadeshi movement. It came after Surat split, and it came after establishing Muslim leagues. So at this time, Muslims wanted to be closer to British. Muslims wanted to be loyal to Britishers because 1857 revolt was seen to be like, Mughal emperor's fight. So many people thought Muslims are anti-Britishers, but Muslim League wanted to prove their loyalty to Britishers. So Indian Councils Act are seen as carrot and stick policy, where you see Surat split divided two things. What are the two? Surat split divided moderates and extremists. Okay. So I need to give some power to moderates. So I started giving power to moderates. I also started giving power to Muslims. So Muslims were given power, moderates were given power. So you see what is going to happen? This is popularly known as Minto-Morley reforms. Minto-Morley reforms. Minto is like, viceroy. Morley is Secretary of State. Now, I'll move guys. Central Legislative Council. Increased from 16 to 60 years. Okay. But always remember, official majority was always there, guys. Because they didn't want that central power to be given to outsiders. Okay. Powers of councils increased. Because all these are general things. That's why UPSC never asks you such questions. Okay. Any exam, they will never ask you such questions because Central Legislative Council increase, powers of councils increase, that will be there. This number is important. Okay. This number is important. And you see, as they wanted to treat moderates well, okay, moderates well, For the first time, remember, for the first time, Indian was allowed in executive council, executive council of of Viceroy. Indian was allowed in executive council of Viceroy, where Satyendra Prasad Sinha became the first person. Please understand, in executive council, Indian was allowed because Swadeshi movement made extremists more powerful. Rule, self-rule they wanted. What they did, they went for moderates. Okay, so they wanted to appease moderates. And guys, he was actually appointed as a law member. He's actually appointed as law member. Now, in this particular act, they introduced communalism in India. Why? Separate electorate for Muslims. That means Muslims only will elect Muslims. Okay, only Muslims. That means, you see, in a place, 70% Muslims are there, 30% Hindus are there. But only Muslims will vote and Muslims will contest. Okay. So because of this, Minto is called as father of communal electorate. Father of communal electorate. Fine. So, to appease Muslims, separate electorate was brought. Okay. To appease moderates, Satyendra Prasad Sinha was made executive council member. These are certain aspects that are very, very important. 1935 is extremely important. And we need to see a lot of aspects there because diarchy will come. Okay. So tomorrow, I'll try to cover the other two and nature of Indian Constitution, those aspects. I'll go syllabus wise and we will see each one of them. Fine. Any doubts here, guys? Okay. Fine, guys. We'll meet tomorrow then. Thank you.